All right, the boys are back from Miami, and we have a lobby filled with fun contests. Maybe we'll even talk a little Saturday 3-gamer action. It's the Badge Bros. I'm Pete. We're going to walk through this underdog slate, and of course, we'll build a few pick'ems, maybe even throw in some spicy Kyle Pitts margs. Let's do it. All right, John, Nez, back a full week under our belts. A week ago at this time, I was on my way to Miami. We were going to do our live show at night, but we're now back in the comfort of our own homes. No Modelo's in sight.
Maybe for some of us. I don't know. I saw John in the green room come back with a little something in his hand. I think it might have been a canned water. I don't want to dox the guy. You know, it's different strokes. Okay.
That's a nice Deposit Kingdom mug there, my friend. Nothing of the sort. Nothing of the sort.
Okay. Good. That's what I wanted to hear. I can't believe that our last show was a week ago today. It does not feel like it's been one full week since Miami.
Yeah, we've all lived a lifetime since that show, for sure. How has the rest of the week gone for you guys? I see you're back in the hoop streets. No rest for the weary.
I took an absolute bath last night. The hoops did not go so great for your boy, but no, it's good to be back drafting because last week was so disjointed and stuff. It was a lot of fun and whatnot, but your normal draft routine was thrown off. So getting back to some normality with drafting and stuff here feels good.
Yeah, I was in the same boat. Like this morning, I saw that the hurry up, the $3.20 max was rapidly approaching a fill, and so we got my multi-table on. Had 4 of those bad boys going out of time. Got that one quickly maxed out this morning. I was like, it feels good to be back at the battle station.
Yeah, this week does feel pretty good too. I will say it took me a minute to kind of get back in the streets. I had a little bit of a Miami hangover just from like all the anticipation and the finish and everything. That it did take me a couple days to get back into these streets and in my groove, but I feel like I have a pretty good feel for the slate once again. And I want to get more of these goal line stands in. And if you're watching this, please enter the goal line stand. If you've tried to draft one, it takes like 2 hours for one lobby to fill. And I promise they're fun. The liquidity is not high. And I thought it's $20 this week. And I thought that price point would be like beneficial and helpful because I thought the people that do draft that would prefer that. So maybe once we get closer to crunch time, it will fill faster because it's less entrance, higher price point. I promise they're fun.
Do you know what you just reminded me? Because so we had in the Discord going for the summer, I have a tag that people can opt into when people were trying to fill Best Ball Mania drafts. We should come up with like a 12-person draft or goal line stand draft tag that people can opt into. And that way you can just hit that tag in the Badge Bros channel and send out the bat signal for anyone who wants to hop in a 12-person.
Yeah, I think it's time to bring that back for sure.
And on like a personal level, like Nez has been like the resident 12 drafter around here. I don't draft a ton of them for this very reason. I think that would help a lot. And, I'd be more inclined to get some in with that too.
I'll spin that up some point over the next day or so.
Perfect.
Oh yeah, that'll be helpful. But this is definitely a fun slate. We have more weather, but I vow to not give a damn about the weather this time. I promise I'm not going to care about these strong, gusty winds going in Miami. I don't know if you've heard about this. The torrential downpour that's happening in Carolina. Have you heard about this? Have you seen this? I don't care. I no longer care.
Weather bros hang out. I haven't even seen any of this. Where are these people? Are you guys have your own group chat where you just fearmonger the weather?
I watch Local on the 8s every 10 minutes on the 10 minutes. I just see it myself.
Perfect.
Yeah. I think, there's some legitimate concerns with Miami for me, and it has nothing to do with the weather. It has exclusively to do with the health of their players in the matchup. But I'm not going to worry about any weather right now.
I think that's more than fair. Probably a good place to start is, the Tyreek Hill discount this week seems to be something that you have to be. I mean, for folks like us, I think we are more willing to bake on a little bit more risk in our drafts. I think Tyreek Hill has to be a part of your portfolio this week at this cost. Are you guys like way out? or you keeping it in regularity?
I think when you think about like how these contests have gone for the entirety of the season, right? A GM was like if you got Kittle plus Hill, or like Kelsey plus Hill rather, right? Now you can get like Kelsey plus Hill plus Mahomes plus, like, without even batting an eye. Like, these combinations are like
You can get
readily
Zeke Elliott. I mean, all the studs.
Yeah, 2019 us would be freaking out.
No, I mean, I've definitely been clicking his name. I haven't been jumping up and down to click him, though. I do think there's like a real legit chance he misses. I mean, DNPs all throughout the week thus far. There was a little bit of coach speak today from McDaniels where he came out and said it's his career, in quotations. No idea what to make of that, but he said it's his career. We'll decide when we have more information closer to blah, blah, blah. And wide receiver, comparative to the other positions this week, a lot thinner, in my estimation. So, I mean, the swap options aren't as great this week. So I've been cognizant and mindful of that. I've been taking Puka over him for what it's worth. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's bullish.
I'm pretty in line with your sentiments, Sean. I've been selecting him a ton in the second round, but not feeling great about it. Not like, oh, all these fish keep passing on Tyreek Hill, but just kind of plugging my nose. And here's the dirty little secret about the GM2 is like, if you draft a GM team with Reek and he gets scratched and you set your ranks and you push up a guy who wasn't getting drafted in a lot of contests, you probably just made a better team. Like, honestly, like, you honestly probably did. So I'll take the GM, see if I can build some super teams with Tyreek. And if not, I'm ready to swap in a guy who's not getting drafted a ton. Yeah, you're sacrificing some projection for sure. My hunch is he is going to play. I think he cares so much about this record. I was shocked he came back in the game last week after leaving. I know sometime the ankles, they swell up more after. So maybe he was still riding high on endorphins or whatever, but he wants to play so bad and they want to get him targets. He's the engine of the offense. If he is active, I do think he will really pay off his draft costs right now.
I think he also thinks he has an outside shot at MVP right now too.
Sure.
And he seems like that dude who would like really care about something like that, right?
Yeah.
It's interesting. It's definitely interesting. I mean, we've seen it before with other players that don't practice all week, the like DK Metcalf, Marquise Brown, the wide receivers specifically who don't practice all week and then end up suiting up come Sunday. He seems like the type that would suit up. I mean, I was surprised that he came back out there in that game. Definitely a little concerning that he didn't play the last drive when they could have really used him. So, no shame if you feel like you don't want to play Tyreek this week. But for me, at this price, I'm mixing him in quite a bit.
Yep. Yeah. And I mean, the other guy there too, I mean, how many times, I forget who it was, our new guy, I'm blanking on his name, John. I think you talked about him last week on the show, but he's been recapping some of the winners of Battle Royale contests. But how many times has that Tyreek Hill HN or Tyreek Hill Mostert been a winning combination in these drafts? And you can get that combo whenever you want this week. You can put him with Mostert. You can put him with HN, who did practice today as well. And that Q tag in this matchup are going to scare a lot of people off, but good luck trying to talk me off of what the ceiling is of those two players.
Right. Yeah, 100%. And the player you're referring to is Inthrius, and Inthrius has been killing the NBA streets as well.
Okay. Nice.
There's some other big ones on the slate in general. Like I actually had, normally we don't start with a tweet or an injury report thing, but I wanted to just bring it up because there are so many like looming cues, especially at the back end and stuff, that's going to pivot the ADP. I think like the ADP right now is a little bit of a fugazi, it's a wazi, it's a woozy kind of thing, because there are some players at the back end of drafts who are going to push up. DJ Moore being one, now that he's kind of got the go ahead, because he was going undrafted at points in time early this week. And then I don't know what. Yeah, please.
Aaron Jones. Both him and AJ Dillon questionable. And like, if you read the reports, it feels like AJ Dillon's in worse shape than Aaron Jones right now, and nobody's been drafting either of them, much less Aaron Jones.
I love that spot for them too. I think coming off a bad primetime game where everyone is just like fully off the Packers, completely ignoring the trajectory that they've taken this season, which has been nothing but like positive steps forward week after week. This is a fantastic spot, especially like you said, Pete, if we get like, you know, the nut rollout for Aaron Jones active, AJ Dillon inactive. Aaron Jones is going to be the steal of these drafts.
Yeah, that's a good shout, Nez. While we're on it, another one of the cover boys that I threw up there was Jaden Reed, just like design touches and I think 10 or 11 targets last week, plus a couple rushing attempts there. Yeah, that just fitting this same Green Bay narrative.
The Jaden Reed stuff has broke my heart because him and Zeke have been the guys that have been hammering, and he is no longer sneaky. I mean, I see him go in a lot. I'm at like 30 or some battle royales, and he's starting to go in every single one of them. I still love the spot for him, but I don't know if there's going to be much leverage. And just because the contest has been a little slow to fill too, it's only 31% full. He's going to end up falling in that territory I normally try to fade, and it doesn't feel good, but we're scrolling down a little further to Romeo Doubs now, boys.
Ooh, all right.
Ooh, buddy.
Yep.
I mean, yeah. I mean, the thesis is equally as strong there. The uniqueness angle, obviously greater. Some of the other ones, just based on now we got basically a full news dump from the Texans. We got the Brian Robinson one, which we were anticipating. We mentioned Gibbs on the Wednesday, or Gibson on the Wednesday show there. Is that getting too cute?
Gibson?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
Mm-hmm.
That matchup is very interesting. He has the potential to catch quite a few balls if they got the trailing script going. We've seen it before where we have this potential shootout with the Rams. Not to say that it's going to happen the exact way it played out against the Seahawks when we were looking at a matchup that we
total
thought was
on the
juicy.
slate though.
Yeah, and with no Brian Robinson, I mean, Gibson, given the opportunity, seems to do well in these situations. So I think Gibson, especially in 12-person drafts, is extremely in consideration. Like this Rams defense isn't that good.
Yeah. I think, you know, if he was going in every draft, I think we could have that conversation. But I mean, I think he's pretty sneaky relative. What is his ADP right now?
It's got to be 35.9.
Yeah, it's 35. I'm not going to poke any holes in that. I do think he strikes me as a guy I wouldn't be too interested in doing as a one-off. I would probably definitely want him with a Rams piece or stacked with Howell. I think is fine, but he doesn't strike me as like Antonio Gibson craters every other piece in this game.
Yeah, that's fair. What are we doing with the Texans? Are we staying away now? You know, Schultz setting up to be a little bit of a target hog there if no one else can go as it looks right now.
We got some good news on Schultz. Is he I haven't really seen his practice. Okay.
Oh, sorry.
The latest is he will play, huh? Okay.
Yeah, so we got Schultz will play, and then we got the bad news on Shrout, Nico, and I guess that's it.
I like Schultz. I mean, we've like you said, like potential to be a target hog this week. I think as far as backup quarterbacks go, you could do worse than Davis Mills. You know,
well, he had a couple ceiling games last year. He also had like some really bad floor games, but like he did have a couple last year.
Yeah. I'm excited about Dalton Schultz.
And I will say, I mean, this tight end slate doesn't look as good as the one to me last week. And it's not, I mean, we have a lot of the same name, but it's just like a lot of the spots are not as clean for the tight ends this week. And then you got kind of lots of uncertainty. Like you said, you got Schultz with Mills. You got Kincaid, who's a little banged up, and Knox is back. You got Trey McBride against the Niners. So yeah, I don't know. And then even some of the spots we liked last week for Cole Kmet, Kyle Pitts, like those guys don't have as good of spots this week, I'd argue. So I have been having a little bit harder time with my tight end selections this week.
Yeah, for me, it's been catch the falling of these three, but I think this is kind of everybody's plan this week, to be honest. push the ADP as far as he can of these three, and then go the stacking route with these two in that game environment with Ferg and Kincaid. And then it's just been kind of like backstacks or one-offs. I've done Schultz a couple times. I've done the Komet Fields thing a couple times, but I've actually been prioritizing tight end a little bit more so this week and getting kind of like one of these upper echelon targets here, and then backstacking my scroll the F down guys. It was a lot of Jaden Reed earlier there. I was doing some Chris Godwin, which looks like it's going to age poorly. I think he has a legit chance to miss now. And then I've been doing like, the other side of that Rams game with like Curtis Samuel and Terry and that sort of stuff.
I think on the topic of tight ends, and I will gladly don myself as the Chiefs whisperer or the Chiefs hater, and I'm ready to bury that hatchet. And I'm ready to give Travis Kelce his flowers this week. I think this is a big week for the Chiefs. My favorite builds right now involve Kelce, Rashee Rice, and Patrick Mahomes in doubles. I'm smelling a shellacking here. This is the Chiefs coming off of a bad loss against the Bills. They're fired up. The Patriots can be beaten through the air, and they've all these teams have beef with the Patriots in the past, so just full bro science here, just fully leaning into a get right spot for the Chiefs. And, this is the cheapest. We would never get Kelce in a good spot at ADP 8 ever before. But, coming off these consecutively bad games, this is a spot where I'm loving the discount that we're getting on the Chiefs, where I really feel like their passing game is finally starting to find its identity a little bit here.
It is crazy that we're at a point where you could literally hop in a draft and you say, no matter what, I'm walking away with a Kelce, Mahomes, Rashee Rice double stack. And you can have it. You can have it every single time if you want it.
Yeah, 100%. And now they finally have someone on the other side of that game environment to push the pace back. Big Zeke Elliott here.
Yeah, let's have the Zeke combo. Our generation, Zach Moss.
Yeah, right. Which was our previous generation's Tony Redacted, who was once before Joe Mixon. So this lineage of passing down 20 rushing attempts plus 4 targets and 85% of snaps turning into absolute dust in our hands. Is that what's going to happen with Zeke this week?
To me, the biggest question, and just to set the stage, the reason we're kind of comparing it to this, ETR has an extremely bullish rank on Zeke. They have him as, I believe, a top 10 overall play. They have him projected higher than Puka, than Cooper Kupp, than Diggs, than Barkley, than Bijan. The market is not taking Zeke ahead of Bijan. If you haven't been in those drafts, I'll let you know that. To me, the real big question about Zeke is, with Demario Douglas back, if they get a little bit more healthy, are all of those targets still available? Because that's what you're getting excited about with Zeke. At least that's what I am.
Yeah, it's definitely the selling point, right? He has the ability to be a pass catcher. I still think that his targets are safe because I'm anticipating trailing game script. The Chiefs secondary is a little stout. I would consider them pretty damn solid. So even with Douglas coming back, it certainly hurts his target projection, but I still think Zeke is shaping up to be a great play. And I think the Zach Moss performances that we've gotten the last 2 weeks are part of why he is not getting that boost. I think we've seen the market said, fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, I'm out. And now we have a guy that is projected for 25 touches and nobody wants a part of it. I'm personally shocked. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. In the Chiefs, obviously no one has, much excitement for like the entire New England team in this spot. They have a 14.5 team total, but the Chiefs have also been much easier to run on than they have to throw onto. New England wants to just establish it with Zeke. I mean, the touch floor here is so good. I guess you do wonder how, those targets aren't quite as valuable to us with the half point, but still, if he gets the workload he's projected to get and he falls in the end zone once, he will pay off a 6th round tag for sure.
I think that's the key there, Pete. It's where in weeks previous, when we got these ETR big boosts in terms of projection, we would push these players, or maybe not we, the collective we would push these players up into, first, second, third round territory. I think just because of the name value associated with Zeke, that's not going to happen. So we're still going to get that 6th round discount. We don't have to chase him up to the front end of draft boards. And I think that's a really big and differentiating distinction between what the Zeke play is this week comparative to like what the Zach Moss one was the last 2 weeks.
Not to even mention that Zach Moss last week was drafted in what, 95+% of drafts. I think even if Zeke catches some steam, I think his ceiling is like getting drafted in 50% of the that's the ceiling. I think he probably ends up settles around like 35 to 40% by the end of the week, but he is not, if I'm not taking him in my drafts, he's not going through this first third of the Battle Royale contest.
Yeah.
It's shocking to me.
It's a good one. You like 50 touch Eckler, you're gonna love 25 touches.
It's weird. Go ahead, Pete.
I was just gonna ask you, Nez, with all of your Chiefs stuff, are you including Zeke in that game environment, or are you just playing him as a one-off when you draft him?
No, he's 100% a part of that, and I think he is. It feels so weird to say. He is a big part of how I am just drafting these contests, period, because I know in the 6th round I can get a pretty damn good projectable running back, whether that's my RB1 or my flex. It allows me to prioritize all these other positions that are thinner or that I feel have projectable pieces instead. And then, oh yeah, there's Zeke waiting for me in the 6th round. Okay, come on, buddy. Like let's go. I already got like my whole team built. And so the Chiefs stuff is kind of a product of him being free, but it's just, icing on the correlation cake really to add him to the Chiefs doubles.
Let me just pin you down on this one more time. So are you rolling out Mahomes double stacks with Zeke in BRs, 4 players from that game out of your 6?
Yes.
Okay. I've done it a couple times too. I don't feel great about it. I feel much better about it, in the hurry up, the fullback dive, like that size contest. I think it's mega viable. I have really questioned myself the couple of times I've done it in the Battle Royale.
And that's probably fair, right? I think I do need to adjust and get a little bit more home, like try to hit more home runs in the BRs. But that's just typically how I like to do it. And because like with those 4 picks, those likely I still get 1 first round pick with that, because if I can typically get Kelsey.
Really?
In the second,
I told them to take away all your future first round picks. Like, you should only be drafted these with 5.
Yeah, it just skips right over me whenever you're in drafts with me.
2 things I want to hit on there, just so ETR is not alone in this. I mean, the Fantasy Life projection has Zeke at number 4 in terms of their rankings as well. So not for us to get like bias on that. And I actually wanted to ask, while you're talking about the New England stuff, my highest advancing player in best ball season right now is Tyquan Thornton. So one time, baby, one time.
I am so sorry.
Who was your guys' highest advancing player? Do you know?
Well, my version of Tyquan Thornton, my highest advancing wide receiver is Marvin Mims. Which
there you go.
It is so disgusting to know, like when you say a guy like Tyquan Thornton or Mims who have done like nothing all year, the clip at which you have to draft them for them to be your highest advancing wide receiver just makes you feel like a real fucking idiot.
Yeah.
My highest advancing dust ball is Kendre Miller, so I'm right there with you guys.
Oh, there you go. Man.
He's like
That's
top
a great
3.
one.
Yeah, but he will play again this season. That was the latest. So, at least there's a hope he can get me 2 points.
Look at this flex from Copper. Feel free to trade you, man.
I mean, I have CMC up there
you.
too. I think if you had him in regularity, there's no way he isn't up there for you.
Oh man.
Speaking of projections, I have been kind of surprised like the bro science flowchart projections in my head guy. I was like, I thought Bijan was going to project way better. What do you guys make of that? Because everywhere he's not projecting nearly as good as you'd think.
I think it's just the market catching up to the fact that Desmond Ridder is such a prolific passer now after going over 300 yards last week. No, I think there is a little bit of like just not treating the recent in projection models as heavily as like an actual switching or actual changing of mentality and stuff like that. I think we're still projecting him in the same vein as we were in, week 7, for instance, where it was just like Algiers still cutting in there, where we actually have seen a usage split thus far. That and Panthers defense low key getting healthier than they once were, still not good, but healthier than they were, 4 or 5 weeks ago when we were just attack.
I am surprised at it. I mean, all these guys. I mean, I guess when you look at in ranking, it looks worse than when you actually look at the number in the projection, where it's like, okay, it's 1 point difference from Kamara. Like, okay, like I'll give you that. But as far as my preference, though, Bijan is still a very high preference for me. I'm buying into the changes that we've seen in the usage and believing in the flow chart. And if you like that projection and you think the projection is solid, if not soft on Bijan, a little foreshadowing here. His pick'em is 63 rushing yards. So,
okay,
yeah, it is. It is an interesting thing. I've been surprised too that even his ADP isn't higher. This would have struck me like I see the market pushing up Debo to ADP 4.5, which I personally think is crazy. But I've also been lower at Debo and have been getting absolutely buried for that take. But like just that idea of, oh my God, Bijan's workload is increasing. And now they face the worst run DVOA team in the league. I would have thought his ADP was like 5 or 6 this week for sure.
Mm-hmm. Well, imagine if he scores that little dump off at the goal line from like the 2-yard line there that Ritter missed him wide open. He gets 2 touchdowns last week there, and then he ends up with like 25 points. Probably 20, 24 or whatever. Does his ADP just then flip with where Debo's is? And we're talking about three running backs in the first 5-6 picks this week.
I
Probably.
think so.
Yeah. I told John on Wednesday that my initial thought on this slate was to like I love these top end running backs and just scoop them up. And then like I will piece together my wide receivers, and typically Rashee Rice is part of that because he's always there third or fourth round.
Where's your cutoff for the top running backs?
I would say probably after Derrick Henry.
Okay.
Saquon for me is that the Saints. I always just like have bad vibes about taking running backs against. You could probably throw Raheem Mostert up in that tier as well, but as far as like ADP goes, I would draw my line after Derrick Henry. But because these guys are priced where they are, I don't want to ignore what the market is doing, and I want to play to the market, and so I will snag a wide receiver along with those solid running backs. But the last 2 weeks where I have been having success in these streets, I've been going essentially like zero running back, where I love the wide receivers, and then I will finish out with some projectable running backs. I don't think I can do that same formula here this week.
Yeah. What running back? How have you been piecing together your running backs, John?
I got a lot of that Rachaad White in the middle there because I just love that game environment, and I've been doing a lot of. I fall into this trap too frequently, I think, with the condensed offenses and stuff, where I've been falling into the trap of taking Kyron plus Puka. Like every time I can kind of get like Kyron at the 104. And then I think maybe only one time done it with Cup, but then just like playing condensed there, then playing Sam Howell on the other side of it, or playing condensed in the other game environment that I like with Green Bay and Tampa. And especially if Godwin doesn't go, even though I was doing it a little bit with Godwin earlier, pushing up White so that I can do White plus Evans, and then doing like a Jaden Reed on the bring back there. So those have been kind of like two of my common constructions. I think it might change a little bit now with some better wide receivers opening up at the back end. Like DJ Moore's splits with Fields have been astronomical. He's been incredible. I know it's an awful matchup. I know whatever, but getting him at 25 now that we know he's going to play feels good. I was doing a little bit of like mixing and matching him and Olave at the back end when I did push up double running back. But in a vacuum, I've been doing a lot of white in that middle tier. And then we talked about Derrick Henry, how just like the touchdown efficiency has been smacking. That game environment, obviously a little less appealing now that everybody on the Houston side is getting ruled out, but he does play up a lot better as like favorites too. So twist my arm each way.
I think you laid out a pretty good case there when you mentioned DJ Moore. I mean, Justin Fields by ADP is QB6. DJ Moore is, like you mentioned, wide receiver 9. I mean, you can just bank on getting those guys in like your last 2 or at least 2 of your last 3 picks and really build some solid teams. I think I don't know if people have I don't know what Justin Fields needs to show, but he's been doing like everything pretty well, not just being a rushing merchant. He's making solid passes. DJ Moore has had a lot of matchups that on paper look bad, and all he's done is perform. So, I think this is a really nice spot to say like screw DVP, even though I am very much a DVP bro. But this seems like a good spot to fade DVP and get that Fields DJ Moore stack just to finish up your drafts. I mean, that really does seem to be the formula, John. We were kind of talking like, what are these sharp players doing at volume? And they're just taking good plays, finishing up with correlation onto the next draft. So DJ Moore, Justin Fields is your correlation if you want to just play the best plays and finish with the stack.
Miami changes a bro, Nez. You've gone full no more DVP and no more weather, bro. You're completely changed man this week.
I'm so different.
I mean, it's hard to care about weather when you're walking around in a straw fedora and an unbuttoned linen shirt like Nez was all weekend, just feeling himself. He had a chiefin on a big one, just walking down with the Cuban cigars.
The burden of proof is on me, I guess, that I need to show that I didn't do that, but I have no proof that I didn't do that. So Pete is right. That was me all weekend.
Well, and again, that kind of overall macro strategy, it dovetails with the entire BR dynamic, right? Where every single slate, there's somewhere between 8 to 15 guys who can really break the slate with a reliably projected to break the slate. Obviously, there's anomalies. And then after that, it's just a complete mishmash of players who all project similarly, but by necessity, 15 of those guys are going to have to get drafted and a bunch of them are going to get ignored. So you scoop up the studs. Like, I do really think, like, if you just wanted like the most blunt forced BR strategy and you wanted to draft off ADP for your first 3 rounds and kind of mix and match and then scroll the F down for the last 3, like, you could do a lot worse than that strategy as almost like a blanket thing you did.
Yeah, well said. Is there any path to the winner this week not having CMC? Like, we kind of joked about it last week and we were like, yo, CMC, this is like such a smash spot. He's going to break the slate. And then you didn't wind up needing him in this one. Do you need CMC this week in basically the best rushing matchup around, period?
I don't think you have to. I mean, look at what happened last week, right? He gets vultured for Jordan Mason. Then Debo gets like a 1-yard rush at the goal line. The Niners are going to be able to score however they want. I mean, if you have a pick six, you have a long touchdown like George Kittle had that one week. Like, I mean, CMC could have like 6 carries in the second half, So obviously you want him. He feels very, very comfy, but I'm not waving the fucking white flag whenever I don't have the 101 guys.
Yeah. I would not go that far. I would not go that far. Thankfully. The Niners seriously it's just death by 1,000 cuts, and it's not even paper cuts. They're just slashes. I mean, this team is just breaking football right now. How efficient they are. It's mind boggling. This is going to be awesome. And yeah, I think this is because we have Debo and CMC push up so high. It kind of makes sense to get a little Ayuk and Kittle happy this week. Like 2 in the top 4 are Niners this week. Yeah. Oh man. I mean, the probability that one of these guys puts up 20 points is way, way closer than this.
Right. Yeah, that's actually a pretty good shout there, Nez, where it's just like you create leverage off the same game environment. Though we tried to do that last week with Ayuk versus Debo, and it bit us. Are we going back to the well with that same mantra, Pete?
Yeah, I mean, my biggest thing, like, I can't really. I mean, I do think Debo's ADP is a little frothy, but we're like picking nits, right? I think he should be going like spots later. You still want some exposure to him, and the opportunity cost isn't gargantuan. So, whatever. I think the big question for me is how you play this from a bigger 49ers block, right? Because we've seen various things hit. We've seen Purdy to Debo hit. We have seen the running back tight end pairing hit, the running back wide receiver pairing. I think I've been a little more hesitant to do like the double stack, the Purdy Kittle Ayuk, which is probably the easiest of the double stacks to get. I've also found Purdy's ADP to be just a little bit pricey, but like, what is your guys' ideal configuration of Niners?
That's a good
Ayuk plus CMC from the 101. And then I try and do, like, I've done CMC, Ayuk, Trey McBride as like a three starting block, and then just scrolled the F down and gone rogue with the last three. Yeah, or not even that rogue. Like, sorry, Nez. Like, like Fields, DJ Moore, and then tack on Zeke, or Fields, DJ Moore, tack on, insert other player name.
Yeah, I'm trying now that like Pete kind of put me on the not on the spot, but called me out on the Chiefs double stacks. Like, I do think that a lot of what I am talking about is probably geared more towards the smaller field 6-person stuff when I mentioned these onslaughts, because you do really have to hit the nuts at everywhere in the BR. But for small field 6-person, I mean, there's really no limit as to like what the configuration is for me in Niners. Yeah. I will seriously take as many as I can fit on one roster and just jam them in. But I think there is something to be said about taking CMC when you do get him in the BR and not touching anybody else other than maybe Kittle, because you just need him. Because CMC, like John said, was posturing, is it possible to win without CMC? He still needs an outlier performance to be a guy you need. He still needs a 30 ball. 23 points from, that's going to be awesome and would love to have, but that's not an optimal type performance.
I think my take is, I think you can slice it and dice it about every which way. The one way I think is bad in the BR specifically, not the small field, but the big one, would be Purdy, CMC, and a pass catcher. I think the way that these pieces have come together, and if CMC is having his outlier game, like, it's going to involve a couple touchdowns. Could that involve, passing touchdowns? Sure. But in that case, I think you would just want Purdy CMC stack and you play it that way. But we just, the Purdy, the times Purdy has been in the optimal, it's been because he's throwing the 4 TDs or whatever. And it's been just a single stacking partner that's really hit.
Yeah, that's actually a good shout. Have you guys seen this one yet? I have not seen CMC plus Tyreek. Have you guys seen it? Just curious.
I think I might have one of those, because Tyreek was sliding a lot.
Yeah, he was.
People did not want to take him.
I'll have to check my hurry ups. I pushed the plane on the hurry ups, so I'll see if I have any there.
How rich. Yeah, I'll pull up the game environment thing here for a second, because Pete, as you alluded to you got one, sorry?
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah, nice.
So it's definitely going to be out there. As you alluded to on the previous show, the block party there, like, all these fun smashy games are in the afternoon here. I'm not sure how that impacts our slate, because our swappability and stuff like that doesn't necessarily matter, but staying clear of kind of like these three, because that's where all the pieces are kind of getting drafted. What's your guys' favorite game to get to, or favorite spot to get to, or spot that isn't getting got to that you would like to get to?
Yeah, I mean, I do. I'm a sucker for the Packers stuff, and I'm pretty excited because I was demoralized that the Jaden Reed stuff was kind of getting away from me. But now with the Aaron Jones stuff, opening up. I'm excited to have like a different way to attack this. And I like any of those combos, like John was saying, you can do the Rachaad White, Mike Evans, you can do Aaron Jones, Mike Evans, you can do Jaden Reed in that, you can double stack, Jordan Love with Romeo Dobbs and Jaden Reed. Like there's so many fun ways to attack this one. And I just like the Packers at home, how Jordan Love has been playing. And then against this Buccaneers secondary, who's been so bad. I mean, look how good they made Desmond Ridder look. And I think we're getting kind of a nice discount on Jordan Love relative to his dud on Monday night. And people like, but I know it was the Giants, but I still didn't like love that spot for them on the road at New York. And now back home here, getting healthy. I'm pretty excited about it for BR perspective.
One more thing I would add to your Aaron Jones love that you are shouting out there is we're looking at potentially a similar situation to last week, although Devin White did practice today, which is a change from his DNPs previously. But Vita Vea, their big run stopper, still DNPs, did not play last week. And that was kind of like something we talked through just in terms of like why we would like Bijan or Desmond Ridder's rushing upside last week a little bit more than we normally would. That plays hand in hand, same narrative this week for Aaron Jones.
I think for my answer to your question, John, about the early slates, it would probably have to be a non-Chiefs answer. I think as far as like a concentrated game, it would be Chiefs. And I guess outside of that, I'm kind of into Jets Dolphins a little bit just because of like Breece Hall's usage has been like pretty wheels up ish with the receiving role. Raheem Mostert getting all the touches that he had with Achane seemingly banged up. I think that has some viability there, but there's basically like two players from every one of these shitty games that I kind of like. I mean, you can literally go game by game and I can tell you two players that like are in my 36 player main BR player pool this week. Like I'm not fully scratching off any one game this week, to be honest.
Yeah, that's fair. If like gun to my head, I had to scratch off one team, I think it would be Cleveland.
Yeah, and that would include Njoku for you.
Yeah, I mean, like I wouldn't want to necessarily. I'm agreeing with your take. I'm just saying, like, gun to my head, if I had to scratch one off, I think it would be Cleveland. I think we're respecters
assuming
there's defense a little
assuming
bit
the Panthers are not included in this gun to your head scenario, I'm guessing, because I mean 33.5 total.
I kind of like Adam Thielen this week.
Oh,
I was gonna say, based on my exposures, I haven't drafted. I don't think I've drafted a Texan. I don't think I've taken Dalton Schultz, and there isn't really anyone else to draft.
So run the whole offense through Singletary week. Get back to the basics here.
What about? Isn't it a Robert Woods revenge game? Does this memory serve me right?
Yeah, your memory serves you correct.
We can't. The bro science model is just off the charts.
That's about as relevant as Dylan Brooks' revenge game tonight is on the hoop slate.
Do we need to have different shades of revenge games too? Like the Robert Woods versus the Rams. Now that's a revenge game. This is like a secondary revenge game.
That's why it's so good, because
Robert Woods.
I don't even remember Robert Woods' tenure with the Titans, as you shouldn't.
Robert Woods versus Crack Rock, the greatest revenge game of all time.
Oh my god!
Come on.
Too soon? 3 years later?
Soon. Yeah,
still too soon. Will forever be too soon.
Yeah. The one we're sleeping on, though. Sorry, Pete. The one we're sleeping on in this game is the actual revenge narrative is DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah, I've been selecting Hopkins a decent bit.
Yeah, Hopkins feels good. He looks good in projections, and that Will Levis performance on primetime had me fired up.
He can sling it, man.
Dude, no fear at all. Little no look at the goal line, out here like chest bumping dudes without pads at full force. Had me inspired, man. And it's just no fear in dude's heart. It's a pretty good matchup for him.
I'm trying to think of other quarterbacks who passed the eye test there in terms of like moxie, get you fired up like that then pan out. You know what I mean? Like as like young rookie guys who are like those straight fire you up guys. Like Drew Lock was a little bit like that. Baker Mayfield was a little bit like that. And who else was kind of like that alpha presence?
I mean, the easy one was always Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's a good one. Okay, not to totally derail. What about you? You said primetime performance like that with the moxie. What about our boy Tommy over here? Tommy Two Guns. What do you think?
I wish he wasn't going against the Saints because, like I said, I just have such a hard time like figuring out if the Saints can be played against or not for fantasy, and it doesn't feel fun. But man, you want to talk about the primetime performances? I was impressed by Will Levis. Way more impressed by Tommy DeVito. Wow, did he make some big throws? Like, holy shit. He looked really good, man. I can't do anything with that other than maybe throw in Wandale in a goal line stand. But that's about it. I can't do Darren Waller, who seems like he's gonna play maybe pick 72 in a 12-person draft. But but man, DeVito has me. He's if he's not for real, he tricked me. I'm into him.
Yeah, I think I've really only been. I'll take Barkley. He sometimes falls. I've gotten him past pick 30 a couple of times. I don't mind that at all. And if I'm now that we kind of talk it through, I want to take some stabs on Waller. You think about he's got the Q tag right now, right?
Yep. And the latest update is that he expects to play, I believe.
Yeah, and we were just talking about I don't love this tight end slate. And after those big, 4 or 5 that John showed on the screen earlier, anyways, it's just you're just praying for a touchdown. So I don't mind taking Waller. No one's gonna draft him. You swap to whoever. If not, I think it's a pretty good pick.
Okay. Yeah, I mean,
tight
end 6, why not?
I'm looking
Imagine if, hang on, let me ask you guys a hypothetical. If a report came out that Tommy DeVito went out for a nice Italian meal with Darren Waller like last night, like where would his ADP? Like Darren Waller would be
spaghetti
going at like
narrative
15 ahead of George Kittle. Oh my God, the spaghetti narrative would be out of control.
Did Darren Waller walk out of the restaurant with a fat manila envelope, just like with a stack of cash inside, allegedly? Then yeah.
The paparazzi actually caught him doing the Lady and the Tramp scene where they were sharing a single noodle and then gently caressing each other's lips.
I can't believe the amount of hype that Tommy DeVito and his agent gets. I bet more people in America know who Tommy DeVito is than Nikola Jokic.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Oh my God.
I
mean, hey, I don't know, man. Why not?
I'd take him over Njoku this week.
Sure.
Ooh.
Yeah, tight end 5, something like that.
You can't be chasing last week's 30 burgers.
No,
we're on to the next one.
Yeah.
The spaghetti connection.
The rolling average for Njoku is solid. Let's be real. He's been.
Can I pay my mortgage with a rolling average, Nez?
You pay your mortgage with good process, Pete. That's what we do. You show them the process and the good place.
I just take them the Skolansky bucks.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's talk a little QBs because you mentioned the field stuff. I like that. I do like Jordan Love just being off the cutoff. Sam Howell definitely in play. How have you guys been handling this in general? Because I don't know, not a lot is separating from like, I really want to like back up the truck on this one play. I don't have that this week.
I think the fact that Tua's going to go, underdrafted, if this spot, obviously Jets aren't great. If there's no weather in this spot and we get full healthy Tyreek, if we had full practice or whatever that was, there's no way that Tua's ADP is behind field staff because it'd be pushed up for stacking partners. right? Like we've yet to see this season. So of all the teams that have like condensed offenses that can explode in a spot, that have gotten home in a big way, like we've seen the Tua triple stack get there multiple times this year. I think there's that. I haven't done it a ton because I prefer Sam Howell and Kyler Murray this week, but I think it will go underrepresented as I think through this on the fly. And I think it's something that I need to mix in now is like the Achane, Tyreek, and Tua just at the off whim possibility that they all go and they do explode, right?
Yeah.
I think the problem for me on 6 persons is that I really have a hard time envisioning a Tua ceiling that can match what will inevitably be there. I don't know who it's going to come from, but somebody on this slate is putting up 25 plus, and it seems like Tua would be hard pressed to do that, but he is at home, and if Tyreek does play, then it's certainly in the cards. I like the call as somebody that is not going to be drafted a lot, if at all. In my he's not on my radar, so I can imagine that other drafters certainly feel the same. But this is definitely just what I've been doing is really waiting on QB because the slate is just so flush with great quarterback play, and I kind of have to decide if I want. Usually, I mean, the decisions are usually made for me. If I'm doing Allen, Purdy, or Prescott, like typically I'm starting with one of their pass catchers, and then I will typically not wait. I'll just take them as QBs, but maybe I should start to wait a little bit more and try to get those stacks paired with an extra piece before I take those QBs. But it's hard to go wrong this week, man. If you're playing the main, I mean, all these top 6, top 8 QBs look great.
Yeah, I mean, I'd go as far as QB 10. Like I like all of them.
No, for sure. You can't. Yeah. You can expand that. I mean, Sam Howell. Like we sort of talked about,
nice this week.
Looks really nice. I think that this is an excellent spot for Sam Howell.
I'm telling you right now, when we get to our pick'em entries, I'm gonna have us lock the passing attempts one on Sam Howell and in one of these
every week. It's a lock button. Yeah. When are they gonna catch up?
Anyone else you want to
tempt Neumy right now? He'll go back behind the wires there.
Anyone else you would add, Pete?
No, I like Howell a lot. I've done some of the okay, I took McBride. I'll toss on Kyler there, even though it doesn't feel too hot. But I would say Love and Howell are my favorite of the guys that aren't getting drafted in every contest.
Yeah, I think I agree there. There was one other one I wanted to mention. Oh, the other one that I've seen floating around here, Nez, not to poo-poo your KC stuff, but the little nugget I've been seeing all week here is I like your narrative with you saw how irate Patty Mahomes was at the end of last game, and I like the bro science angle of that. Mahomes, we've questioned his ceiling in the past. He has 3 QB1 games in his last 10 now.
It's not great.
It's insane. Yeah. Sam Howell is outscoring him on the year.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I've been fading them all year. It's been fun to be right on that. But I'm telling you, it feels different.
From the man who brought you Josh Allen last week.
Your projection models can't adjust for real feel, and boy, is there real feel on the Chiefs this week.
Hey, that was your Walker Kessler of last night. I'm not going to question you.
Yeah, I still lost my shirt, man. It didn't.
Let me ask you one other question about QB. How are you guys stacking up Josh Allen? And let's say outside of the obvious, you get Diggs and then Allen falls and you grab him. How are you doing your backdoor Josh Allen stacks?
I've been doing Gabe. Just because I think wide receiver is shallow, and I think the majority of the field gravitates to Kincaid, and Kincaid's red zone usage. I mean, it's fluctuated, but with Knox around, it's not great. So give me the guy that can win me a large scale GPP where instead of hunting 14 points, I'm hunting 24 points in the 6th round.
My hot take is it's Diggs or nobody. Okay. I am a strong believer that we are getting unleashed Josh Allen in these last weeks, and I'm not even correlating it or saying it's because of the the new OC in town. I think it's just, hey, they are fighting for their lives. You cannot tell Josh Allen to not rush when the playoff hopes are on the line.
Mhm.
So it's Diggs or bust, and I'm totally fine with trying to hit the nuts with my Josh Allen pick.
I've done both of what you guys are doing. The other one I will toss in, and I do agree with John's stuff about people getting funneled to Kincaid. I've even found myself clicking it a few times because it's just a comfy thing there. But I kind of like Allen with James Cook. I think, again, it's one of the better game environments, one of the better team totals on the slate. James Cook, as Nez knows, his passing game involvement has really ramped up lately. And I think it's a spot where you could essentially capture a good chunk of the points. You could get like the Josh Allen spread out game, right? Where no other pass catcher, and you get the one screen pass that James Cook takes to the house, which he's seemingly been doing every week right now. Maybe you bank an extra touchdown in there too from Cook or something. But he's been very consistent. He's shown a really nice floor over the past few weeks, and I still don't think we've seen like the ceiling game where it just all comes together.
You have not. I mean, look at these snaps. Look at these snap shares. He is by far their best running back. He's like their second best offensive player, weapon outside of Josh, and not including Josh. Like it's Diggs and then Cooks as far as like who is productive with the ball in their hands for the Bills. They've got to unleash this dude at some point. I mean, in critical plays, they're putting is that Duke Johnson on the team? That is who's
Ty Johnson.
Yeah.
Whoever.
They'd probably be better off with Duke Johnson.
I was probably free that man. No, he need if you see that sudden like, oh my gosh, James Cook is on the field for 65% of snaps, just a lowly 65, then his floor is almost certainly getting there in a big way.
Yeah, David Johnson.
Shall we draft something? Is there any other players you guys would like to name so that you sound smart when we come back and look at this later that we haven't talked about? Who else did you write up in Hidden Gems, Pete?
So I didn't do a Hidden Gems this week because I did a playoff best ball primer article instead. I did do a short about Zeke, regrettably. I think, before Jaden Reed would have been a really good one. Aaron Jones would have been a late breaking one. And I just kind of macro, these guys are getting drafted in every contest. They're not the Hidden Gems. But I do want to go back to the Brandon Ayuk and the Mike Evans stuff. I mean, those guys have been monsters this year. I think recency bias sentiment just has them a little lower than they should be. And, Mike Evans specifically, we're talking about like the correlations and the pairings and stuff. I mean, he's the ultimate one-off play as well, too, from an offense where he can just consolidate all of the points. So I don't know. I'm going back. I've been burned by those guys because I've been just clicking them at a crazy rate lately, but I'm going back to the well again.
Yeah, I like that. Only one thing I would say is the Mike Evans one. The only little thing that may or may not scare me, if you believe in the DVP stuff, is Jair Alexander with limited practices all week here. Don't know if he plays football this week, but just throwing it out there for the DVP bros. It has not stopped me from clicking him because I am all in on that game environment in the mornings. Nez, any other player that you want to mention?
Yeah, we'll go with the Commanders wide receiver 1, Curtis Samuel.
Yeah, I love that. Dude.
Dude is just so efficient.
I like that. What's crazy though, it's like the market is now fully capitulated that you're not even getting leverage on Terry McLaurin getting drafted at every draft. Like people are just like, I'm so fucking done with this.
That's what sucks. There's really no leverage to be gained, but he's still the guy. He's a fun one if you go running back heavy and you're scrambling for wideouts. I mean, even in the goal line stands, Curtis Samuel is pretty cheap.
Yeah, I like that a lot. I mean, they're only 6.5 point dogs in the highest total game of the week, and it's indoors. And we've seen the pass attempts of Sam Howell always be there. I mean, I don't think you can go wrong on the back end here. Just going like Samuel, Gibson, Terry, they're all going to be underrepresented in terms of their draft rate this week.
Yeah.
Cool. I like it. We talked about the Brandon Cooks one a little bit on Wednesday. Just like if you want leverage off this same game environment that everyone's going to be drafting over and over again, that going the Gabe Davis and Brandon Cooks route. The Marquise Brown still having the Q tag, even though they're coming out of a bye, is scaring me a little bit, but I will have it mixed in him and James Conner both with Kyler. I will have a little bit of that if we just play that game environment to pop, or they do exactly what Seattle did last week, where like the Niners get up by so much that then, hey, you can just dump off a little bit here and accumulate underneath kind of deal.
Nez, I haven't done any 12-person drafts yet. Are there any specific notes on that format this week?
Jeez, I mean, I've only gotten 2 in.
Okay.
But yeah, the only thing for me on that front is the quarterbacks feel different on the in the 12 persons. If you're waiting on QB in 12 person, it's not nearly as fun. I've only gotten in 2 of those because like I said, it's the liquidity issue right now. Ritter and Kyler Murray are my 2 quarterbacks in there, but I like literally my entire lineup outside of that. So there's that. But QB is definitely the most challenging part for me in there. It's a completely different ball game.
Yeah, because you can really get boxed out. Like last week, when you guys were doing your dog bowl stuff, I was like, man, Gardner Minshew and Jake Browning, and I was on the Ritter train. I was like, I feel decent about those guys. This week, I feel like you get to QB 11, 12, and it's real gross.
It's not fun. I'll probably, after doing those 2, be prioritizing QB once again, for better or worse.
What do you guys think about the Cooper 14 target game last week? Despite he wasn't a guarantee to play last week, we got that news right before the draft. Looks on track. Everything's all good this week. What do you guys think?
Bears are a tough matchup.
Yeah,
Bears are tough, but Flacco will sling that shit. So there's that.
Yeah, what's Amari's ADP? I assume it's deep 35s.
Yeah, it was buried there. 35 flat.
Yeah, seems good.
Mm-hmm.
I can't poke holes in it. It's not one I've done yet, but I can't poke holes in it.
Contrarian approach to the game environments that you guys, or that Nez in particular really likes there. If you go the CEH or McKinnon route and Demario Douglas. Too thin?
The tough thing, I would be more inclined to use McKinnon than CEH. I mean, Pats have actually been, for as bad as they are, their run defense is so much better. Teams just light them up through the air, which I assume is partly why Nez is so excited about the passing game in this spot. So I'd be more inclined to use McKinnon, but then even then, you're like, those passes aren't worth much. You basically just have to sun run a 2-touchdown game, which he's fully capable of, but I think it's a little thin to me on this slate.
Cool. Other ones I added were Godwin, true game time decision. It's infinite leverage in that same game environment, and you'll get a free swap. Not the sexiest thing in the world, more of like a floor play. Probably plays better in the 12s. And then we've seen Wicks be like a 1-for-1 replacement in games where Christian Watson, not in terms of talent, but just in terms of usage. If you want to go the super duper scroll the F down in that same game environment, I don't know. Seemed crazier.
Yeah.
Cool. You guys want to rip a draft here, or do you guys want to build a pick'em entry?
I feel like we're in such draft mode right now. We should do a draft.
Let's capitalize. Should we try and fill ourselves a 12, or should we do a 6 first?
Let's do a 6 first, just since we've been talking a lot about that.
A million.
Let's do a full. You want to do a fullback dive or just do a battle royale?
Okay. Wow, we just pump faked everyone. Yep. Everyone's in there. Fullback dive, 5 max. Let's rip.
I love the fullback dives.
Yeah, it introduces a little more like less have to hit the nuts, right?
Exactly.
Well, this is where I think like Nez is, double stack with Zeke. Like, I mean, this is the format where I think that makes a ton of sense. Just so you guys know, it is in our contract with Underdog to pull the bait and switch on which lobby. Just wait. when times get rough, they're gonna have us start head faking the bomb, which is where you're really gonna feel it.
It's even sweatier when both you guys got in here too.
Whoa! I did not even know I must have been. What the hell?
What's going on?
No! Oh
no!
Is Bria in there drafted now?
No, she has her own account. If you see, but she's all pissed because she hasn't won anything. So like,
you guys are gonna be like we're gonna hit the reset on how Redacted had the big outing of the 300 total entries from the husband-wife duo from The Bachelor there back in the day. You guys are gonna be the second coming of that on Underdog.
Hey,
you're gonna win the bomb and it'd be like, whoa, Nez and his wife were in the same draft.
Oh man,
and then that makes you the Chris Randone of this, John, the friend of the couple there that goes to Twitter to defend.
When lulls. The all-time lulls episode coming. No, I must have tried to get one of these in before the show, and amazingly, it didn't fill the entire time we were filming. So hey man, I guess we're holding back all the lobbies.
Is Nez too rich these days? Just like hopping in $25 drafts and forgetting about it, pushing the plane on these. I mean, God.
My balance is burning a hole in my pocket, man. I don't know if you've heard. I was pushing the plane on some mittens too, man. Doing some experiments
how do you push the plane on the mittens?
On the mittens, you just Josh, just bills, all bills, and I'm like, hey, this is where I'm getting in on the bill stuff early, getting in while the getting's good.
Man.
You said the word lulls there, obviously in reference to Pete and Brian's show, but in the live final, a guy that we haven't talked a ton about yet was the lulls hot dogs. And I was standing at the front there for like that meet and greet segment, and they would talk to Berm and they would talk to Oaks, and they'd all like, hey, what's your screen name? What's your real name or whatever? And Lulz comes up and he goes, Lulz hot dog to Oaks. And Oaks is like, what? And then he's just like standing there. He's like, Lulz hot dog. And he's like, how do you spell that? And he's like, like Lulz, LOLZ. I was like, oh man, it was just like it was like porting a like a internet meme interaction to like real time. It was pretty funny.
It's all fun and games having a meme username until you have to say it out loud in real life. And then you have to come to Jesus moment. It's like whenever I, explain something online, to Lauren or someone in a family, and you realize as you're saying it out loud, you're like, I am bombing right now. This is not translating whatsoever. And then he hit him with this emoji reaction, and then he came. And I'm okay, what?
I might have caught the falling knife there, but that's the deepest in which I've seen Tyreek slide. Obviously, different in these drafts. We had a little rogue Tammy setting up the super stack of the Dallas stuff.
Take Dak just for the lulz. Play to the billet ankle.
I think I am going to go ahead and take Mike Evans, I think. I don't know. Fuck. All right, never mind. I'm going to take Bijan and figure it out.
Bijan at 14 is nice.
Yeah, I mean, especially with the Tyreek. This is just where you just, okay, GM, and now figure it out.
Yeah.
Oh, Tammy.
Tammy's pushing
Living a little.
Yeah, this is absolutely
Tammy, are you watching?
Pete, you said bomb there. Did you ever in your stand up and comedy and improv stuff, you guys ever have a bomb set?
The fuck is that?
First of all, yes, a million times. I had George Kittle. I was taking it to the bank. Wow, Deezer there with the Kelsey double tap.
You are not chosen, Deezer.
No. You know what?
Chose violence is what he chose.
Yeah, now you're not getting Kelsey with it.
Nice.
We're out for blood.
Yeah, this is so true. Remember everyone's underdog handle, not their real name.
Yeah, Matt, I don't even know your first name until I saw it right there. I just know you as Wu-Tang Killer Bees.
Who do you guys like more this week, Rachaad White or Derrick Henry? I think they both have bull cases to make. I mean, apropos of absolutely nothing.
I like Rachaad White.
Yeah.
Cool.
Because don't you remember all the rhetoric from July? It was like every podcast I listened to was like Rachaad White gets the Green Bay Packers on the road in week 15. I was like,
everybody was saying that. I'll get my Dehember in good elsewhere.
Go for the Rice stack there.
Nez has got me hyped up.
On what that Niners stuff or
no,
sorry, I see you now. Yeah, no, that's a great move by you.
Wow, this is a bloodbath out here. Jordan Love goes instead
Tammy's
of
watching.
going.
And Tammy takes Jaden Reed. Continues to push Dak. What is going on?
Dude, you're going to well, I guess you don't have to take QB, but
I'm taking Trey McBride and then I'm taking Dak.
I was going to say
you got to take Dak. Tammy pushed it way too far. This is too fast to lose. Tammy.
That's what I mean. Like we talk about in different draft lobbies, like pushing your stack off, right? But at a certain point, you're disrespecting your lobby mates to be like staring you in the face, like you won't take Dak. You're not going to take Dak 2 rounds past ADP. Like that's just disrespectful.
They're also the counter to that, Nez, is there's only one other team that needs a quarterback right now. And gone is my backdoor Green Bay stuff. So does this team look better for me to go Sam Howell plus a backdoor stack? Or, there goes DJ Moore. I was going to say, or DJ Moore with Fields as a backdoor stack. Does my team actually look better than naked Dak or Dak plus Brandon Cooks? It becomes this weird debate where it's like, well, maybe he or she's right in pushing it this far and throwing this shade at me to make a decision, right?
And then Tammy
snap picks James Cook unfazed.
Tammy's in the zone, locked in now.
Okay, but can we guess who's Tammy going to take it? Are they going to do Baker Mayfield?
Oh wow, they've got.
I guess, yeah, or naked Fields.
Oh, that would be
Fields is kind of fine too. Pete goes and takes Zeke. Man, it wide receiver gets thin in a hurry back here. Like you're either taking like the projectable volume and name value of like Hopkins and DJ Moore and stuff, or you're shooting the moon on like single skinny stacks at the back end. Like there's a lot of good running backs still on the board. Like Tony Redacted is, he's just as likely to put up a nice score this week. Saquon's still on there. Raheem Mostert, if they lean on the run with Achane out, like Mostert could have a 3 touchdown game this week.
It really does lend itself to just like it. Get your wide receivers early and look at these running backs that are left. I mean, this is the last round, and
Tammy does it with Baker. Wow, I like this Tammy character.
Same,
I liked it.
I like the way they think.
This is such a weird.
I would just say, talk through your spot. Cooks?
I think it has to be, and it gives you a little bit of leverage off the game environment, but it's so weird to leave like Waddle on the board or Olave on the board, blah, blah, blah.
I think this has to be Brandon Cooks.
Yeah, it feels bad to play.
You'll probably have the only
Dak game.
You'll have like probably one of the only Dak share or Brandon Cook shares in that entire contest.
One would hope, I guess.
I mean, and if you do, you're definitely the only one with Dak, Kyron, Bijan, Tyreek with Dak with that. I mean, that's an unholy GM to be honest.
And the swappability from it too is that Waddle's still sitting on the board there. So Waddle went undrafted, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, you just swap Reek for Waddle. Yeah. I don't know. Do you guys like Waddle this week if Hill doesn't go?
If Hill doesn't go, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Like you think he should be in like, what's his ADP if Hill got ruled out today?
Based on just now the weather sentiment, the matchup sentiment, I honestly don't even think he comes up that much. Maybe he comes up like either. Behind Mike Evans.
Potentially. I would probably project him for like 12.8, 12.9. And that would put him pretty damn high, I guess. So maybe I need to chill. But
how about Waddle or Hopkins.
Waddle, no Hill, of course.
Waddle, no Hill. Let's play no Hill because I think it's a real possibility, and people will have this decision Saturday, Sunday morning.
That's really close for me. I think I would have Waddle just a smidge ahead of Hopkins.
Yeah, I'd have Waddle, and it'd be like by fractions of a fantasy point.
How about DJ Moore?
I think I would be Waddle.
Same.
Zeke or Waddle?
Waddle.
Oof.
What's Waddle's ADP right now?
That's a 30. That's what I mean.
Okay.
Like he might just be hella mispriced, and we should be doing, something like we do in the basketball streets all the time is you anticipate the Q tag being out, and then you build like 5 rosters by pushing, replacement value up. Because in theory, if we push Waddle right now, this whole brick basically has no wide receivers until Mike Evans. Like we could conceivably pick Waddle at 20 every single draft based on what we're saying right now. If we think Tyreek misses.
Waiting on wide receiver is viable. It just doesn't feel as good. But I mean, when you put it like that, man, you can do worse.
Yep. Pick 'em time?
Absolutely.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Can I toss out? So last night, I'm building, doing my first scroll through the Pick'em lobby, and I really wanted to build out something with Jordan Love, but at the time they didn't have anything on the yardage front. It looks like they do have it. You guys want to build something out from this Green Bay Tampa game?
I think it's a great place to start.
I think this is my favorite. This is what last week's Tampa and Falcons was to us. Is this game again this week?
What's the common denominator? And it's not Kyle Pitts.
Goddamn right.
Yeah, I wish it was Kyle Pitts.
So passing yards, I feel like that feels cleaner.
Yep.
I will say 1.5 passing tutties doesn't look bad, but passing yards feels so much cleaner.
It does.
I like it.
It's definitely some interesting ways to stack this. Looks like they're not giving us a Dontavian Wicks right now. I personally like all 3 of the receiving yards for Dobbs, Reed, and Kraft. The spice isn't quite making it move for me.
No, only 1.25 on the Jaden Reed spice and only 1.75 if you buy the Dobbs discount. It doesn't push me hard enough there.
Absolutely.
Tucker Kraft last game 64 receiving yards. Jaden Reed was actually under this last week at 27, but he had that 38 yards on the ground. You notice Underdog isn't giving us the rushing plus receiving here.
They've had enough.
Yeah.
Dobbs has been pretty consistent past 3 games, 37, 72, 32. They have this at 44.5. So like the line is, it's baking in this Tampa Bay secondary. But I'm still fine with any 2 of these. I mean, Reed has been one of my guys this week, so I think I'd lean to putting his receiving yards in.
I agree with that.
Agree.
The tight end spot's really nice too, just because they have no one else.
Yeah.
Like they have Ben Sims, who they picked up on waivers. They have a practice squad guy in Joel Wilson, and then obviously, Musgrave's on IR.
I wish Dobbs was like 2.5 or something on the spice, because I'd push for Dobbs TD spice, but the 1.75 is just not doing it for me.
Yeah, if it was 2.25, I think the Dobbs touchdown, because like they've shown that they like him in the red zone, and then coupled with the Reed receiving yards and Kraft receiving yards would be my way to play it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't really have it. I'm just like Jaden Reed receiving yards here.
Okay.
I think it's just the best way to play it. His ADOT was really low last week. It's just like kind of confusing, and in general, it isn't like overly high. But I still think I like it more than 4.5 receptions.
Do you guys want to toss in Kraft at 33.5? If Jordan Love's getting to 250 passing yards, who else is getting it?
Right.
It's one of the 2 of them, yeah.
What's up with do we have anything for Aaron Jones?
Not yet.
I didn't think so. I like Kraft at 33.5.
I do too. Let's do Love, Reed, and Kraft.
Okay, cool. I got Dobbs in there right now, but I'll get rid of him in 1 second here. Let's bring up. We're going to do game correlation one with the Tampa side.
We got to take a peek.
I think. Yeah. I mean, they're giving us a spice on a Mike Evans TD. I mean, do we go back to the Mike Evans TD? Well, hey, he had one last week.
And
they took it away.
That was bullshit. Yeah.
Oh shit, man. Yeah.
I mean, the only thing I like more than a Tony Redacted and or Kyle Pitts spicy marg is Mike Evans spicy marg.
Yep.
So, yeah.
So you could, if you wanted to do full game, you probably just take Rachaad White fantasy points. Or
Baker correlation. Baker. Yeah, Baker fantasy points correlation works too.
Let me look
it's locked with the spice.
Yeah, they're not going to let us do that.
Yeah. Point.
What Rachaad White rush attempts? What is that sitting at?
18.5.
That's
in his last number. Well, Pete. Let me tell you something. In his last 6 games, he's gone over that 4 times. Not
his
enough.
Last 6 games, he's gone over. 4.
I guess it does. Like if we have, I mean, I think LaFleur and Love will chuck it in most game scripts, but I guess it definitely lends itself to if we could have the Bucs with a little bit of a lead, leading to more Rachaad White carries and then more throws.
20.5 receiving yards as well. 33, 22, 28, 47, 46, 70, 65. I mean, that's just...
I kind of like the receiving yards more.
I kind of like the receiving yards more too.
Yeah.
That's been his bread and butter too.
Mm-hmm. I kind of like that.
Green Bay 22nd against opposing running backs. I don't have any catch data in front of me right now for opposing running backs. I will just put on the record here that I try my best. I will say this Cade Otton one, if Chris Evans doesn't go, I wouldn't put it in. I think it's too high leverage to put in with our game correlation one here, but that 2.5 for Cade Otton touchdown feels pretty nice.
Yeah. I like this one here. This is fun.
Okay.
This is the one that gets here.
All right, audio listeners, we got the Love higher. These are all hires because we're not cowards. We got the Love passing yards. We got correlated with Jaden Reed and Tucker Kraft. Mike Evans, spice it up touchdown. He should have had another one last week. And then White with the 20.5 receiving yards.
Yeah.
Sounds good?
Smash it.
Confidence interval 1, BBM 5 entry.
There you go. And we know everyone's got that regular season stimmy in their account.
Oh, yeah. Everybody's feeling extra good right now.
I want to build 2 more. I do want to build our classic, just where's our gut? Who are the guys that are mispriced? We also need an allspice.
Okay. I like it.
We could even call it the allspice sponsored by Copper Price, who continues to live rent free on that 10K one he posted a couple weeks back.
Yeah, I can't help but just like think about that.
Yeah.
This is a nice little nugget from Copper. Did you guys see this one?
15 went over on attempts.
Running backs have gone over on their attempts prop versus Green Bay. I did see that they had given up 100 yards rushing to an opposing rusher 9 out of 13 times this year. Something like that as well. So another one.
Yeah.
All spice. Let's go spicy marks. Where are we starting then?
So I think
we need a search by spice function.
What? Yeah, that's what we said. Show me. I'm gonna do it.
If you do TDs, like you're gonna you encapsulate a ton of spice that way.
Oh, if you search
TDS.
Okay. All right. Okay, let's keep Saturday out of it. Unless you guys, no, then Nez will just pick Najee and think we'll do that.
All right, fine.
Saturday. All right.
Let's start with some KC because
I was
Nez
looking at that. And I would start with, I think, Rasheed.
Okay.
She or McKinnon. I think McKinnon gets an extra 1.5. He gets the 1.5. And without Pacheco there, that dude just seems to be a magnet for the end zone. I like Rasheed's chances more, but
we should probably get we can get one quarterback tossed in here. Or one of the correlate. Do we want to check? I think if we're doing the touchdown hunting, let's check out the big team totals, the Rams, the Niners.
Okay.
Or
they're all in the
afternoon,
down. So I'll scroll. Yeah, I'll scroll. I'll scroll so we can keep it all there. Jamal, that's one guy we didn't talk about. Jamal cutting into. He basically took Taysom's role and then got 5 extra carries out of it. Yeah. That's crazy.
And I think Taysom's back this week.
Yeah, still Q tag on the site, but we shall see.
McBride's 2.25x.
I'm about it.
Oh my goodness.
I'm really about that one.
Keep an eye on the multiplier because you can only go up to 100x, and at a certain point you cap out. So we might not need a 5 spice, but 2.25 is a very fun juice there.
Yes,
I like it.
I'm in. All right.
Sam Howell in his last 3 games has 4 rushing touchdowns, 1 in every single one of them. Highest team total on the slate.
Wow.
They have no running back too. Well, no running back. They don't have their goal line running back.
Dude, I love it. I'm sold.
Holy shit. Throw it in.
Sam Howell low-key looks a little bit like copper prices.
That's a compliment. So if you at this point, all we need to do is add 2 regulars. We are spiced out. 2 regular picks would put this at 100x.
Okay.
So then unless you did a pick 4, because I know that there's math that says, it's ideal to do 5, but I don't know if that math is including spicing it up. And if you do
let's do some. What's Mahomes? I think you would. Do we think Mahomes gets to 260 passing yards here?
We think that they're a bit of a pass funnel just in general. So
he was at 271 against Buff. He was at 210 at Green Bay and then 298 at LV.
He was so mad after that game. He was so mad. He's going to come out and throw Mahomes for 450.
We can do, I think we could do passing yards with this. We can't do fantasy points, but we can certainly do passing yards. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure one more regular is going to throw this to.
Yeah, we're at 70.31 right now. So let's see.
Yeah, Nez is right.
And honestly, adding another regular to this, we are kind of losing a little bit because McBride is 2.25. So,
you're saying we're over leveraged?
So if you add one more, it should be 140x, and we're only getting 100x because of Trey McBride. So, just something to keep in mind.
No, yeah, So what X do we need to get it at for if we remove McBride?
5. We want a 5x multiplier. Because then.
So what if we did a niner, either Ayuk or Kittle instead of McBride?
Yeah, I agree. I think Ayuk has the 1.25. So if we sub Kittle.
Okay, hold on here. I'm doing this. I feel very confident on this 3-way spice. I'm doing this one just as a 3 then.
Whoa, John just went so rogue. He got so into it.
Yo, spice it up.
Had to have.
Dude, that was like a moment where it was like I have to do this right now.
I've never seen John you're normally pretty casual. You're just like, dudes, I can't even think about anything other than locking in this spice triple.
Well, I gotta ride that confidence. Let me click.
I know now. I have to go in here and grab this.
You must gotta juice the viewer count because we're in here now in the comments.
All right.
By the way,
I dropped it in the personal chat too, the private chat.
And not subscribed, make sure to subscribe to the BadgeBros channel. Let the people know what's your usual programming if they're watching for the first time.
Yeah, we're doing Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Friday's always off and on the clock. Monday is a little bit of winner's circle and a recap of the weekend, and then we usually do either the Monday Night Football slate and or hoops or puck or whatever's running that night after there. And then Wednesday is our like definitive big primer for the Sunday slate there for the BR in particular. But then we're mixing in some member only streams now on Tuesdays and Thursdays, which are basically our equivalent of drafting before lock style thing, or kind of like a peek into our back end process where we'll come out and Nez did a build his ranks one on Thursday there for the hoops slate, or we'll do like some crams before Thursday night football, crams before Tuesday night hoops, or something like that. So just rewarding those who have supported us.
Did you hear that Nez is doing the coffee pour bit now?
I couldn't believe it, to be honest. I was like, I think they just might take this down.
I did get a copyright strike, and I was like, "What the hell is this for?" And it said for Peter Overzet coffee pour.
Yeah, demonetized.
Yeah. You know what's funny is you thought like someone snitched. I literally just tapped in, and then I just saw like some of the comments, and I pieced together what had happened.
My hands were tied. I was, do I completely rob my viewers of a coffee pour ASMR, or do I mute the mic out of respect for you?
That would be a way to make it your own bit if you poured the coffee with your hands tied. Now that I would allow.
Oh man.
Okay, we'll see what I can do.
Let's get back to business.
I mean, we'll have a real lawsuit if he starts doing nip slips in the middle of summer here. Then hot best ball summer will be fully canceled at that point.
I'm not that shameless.
Turn me up, doing us a good favor here. 6 likes on 124 views. What are we doing right now? Do us a favor, click that thumbs up there. Click it 3 times if you don't love the content.
So the only problem, Nez, now with our multiplier thing, if we pull out McBride and we put in Ayuk, and then you do a Normie, that gets us to 78. So then do we need another 1.25?
We do need 4 1.25s.
Yeah.
So we've kind of all agreed that Mahomes higher on the passing yards is going to be our non-spice.
I think so. I think that correlates well with a Rashee Rice TD.
Okay. So we'll do the Rice TD, the Mahomes to start. We're taking out the McBride. What are we putting back in? The Sam Howell?
Yeah, the Howell for sure.
Okay, cool. There we go.
I gotta I don't know if you guys are gonna like this one.
Try us.
What about no, we need 1.25. This is not gonna work. I was gonna say Tyler Higbee for a touchdown because he's coming back against this hapless Commanders defense.
I hate it.
I hate it.
That's all I needed to hear.
Which means it's hitting.
You know what's actually a crazy one is not to add in here, but I'd actually want to see if it's up here, is if there was some Demarcus Robinson stuff. Just the spice on the touchdown. But he's had touchdowns in back-to-back games, and he's kind of been a 1-for-1 replacement for Tutu Atwell, who's not going to play this week. So anyways.
How about this for the final one? This gives us to 97.65. What about James Cook spice? 1.25.
Oh, yeah. Now we're.
So then it would be a 4?
No, 5. Rashee, Howell, Ayuk, Cook, Spice, Mahomes passing yards.
Okay, so Cook, Spice,
Unamas,
and then Ayuk was a what?
1.25x.
Another spice there. That gets us to 97.65.
Yeah, that'll.
Can we live with that?
That'll work.
4 spice. James Cook catches the dump off. Ayuk's due. All right. I like
that'll
it.
Work.
Ship it.
That'll do it.
I really need to get better about changing my unit size for a bunch of spices, but when you're chasing copper price in those screenshot spice streets, you gotta let it rip.
You do. You got it. There's just no choice. I will say we don't need to throw anything in here, but if you agree with me and the Chiefs are rolling, 2.5 XP for Harrison Butker
Wow, the kicker whisperer is back.
Just saying.
All right, let's build our final one, which is all where we go from our gut. Guys who are mispriced, guys who are undervalued this week. I did tease the lock buttoning the Howell attempts.
Yeah, that has to be in there.
Okay.
38.5. The other thing I was listening, what was I listening to? Yeah, because Karane's fucking slacking and hasn't put out the walkthrough yet. I was listening to the OWS, the Edge audio, and they were talking about how the Rams just do not get to the quarterback from a pressure standpoint. So Howell's going to have a lot of time. And if you think about what has been the downfall for Howell this year, taking a bunch of sacks, I mean, if he has time back there, the passing attempts are going to be there. We're going to be in good shape.
He's going to be standing back there with so much time. He's going to throw 4 interceptions. He's going to have all day.
No.
He's just going to be...
Yeah. So, I mean, it was the Miami game where he cratered out, right? Only 23 attempts previously, 44 at Dallas, 45 against the Giants. And I mean, this Rams team is just humming right now at home. I mean, they're going to have to throw the entire game. They don't have their running back.
Speaking of, I do kind of like some of these Rams. I mean, take your pick. I think everybody has a projection that makes sense. I think you could probably, like, Puka looks good. I think my favorite is the Kyren rushing yards, but
okay.
I could be
the only thing I will say again, just from that those Nuggets, is that Commanders have been decently good against the run, and they've given up way more to running back receptions. I would almost maybe push us to Kyren receptions. You know, last week at Baltimore, he didn't do anything in the receiving game. But Cleveland, 24 yards receiving, Arizona, 61 yards receiving. This to me feels kind of like the Arizona setup where they get him going in the screen game.
Okay.
Do you like that?
I like it.
Yeah. No, I think that makes sense.
I wish if they had a fantasy points on him, I think you just do that because he has so many outs.
Mm-hmm. His fantasy points are probably going to be at like 16 point something. You would think. No, I like it. I'm down for it.
Yeah, he doesn't have one, but Zeke,
I know. I was going there. We gonna do it?
Yep.
11.8.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or just to talk it through, would you want to go the receiving yards angle, right? Because the 11.85, he almost for sure needs a touchdown, right? To get that. And then, you know, the past 2 weeks, 40 yards receiving against the Chargers, 72 against Pitt. Like, the whole reason we're interested in him is because of the receiving upside and him just having the bell cow back. Mm-hmm. He did not look good as a rusher to me. I don't know. I feel like the 19.5 is the easier bar to clear.
They have nobody behind him. It's JaMychal Hasty.
What do you say? Do you like the points?
I'm good with either, to be honest. Like, I like both. I was just making like a general statement here.
Let's do
nobody.
Let's do receiving yards. I think Pete's onto something there. I wish that they had receptions, but the way that he's been, like, the work that he's doing with the receptions, I mean, he's been kind of efficient with these receptions. So I think 19.5 fits the thesis, and it's
that plays well if they're trailing too. So if you wanted to add something from the KC side and like add that Mahomes, passing yards again, or
just to give you perspective on, like, I was getting pretty excited about James Cook's target shares the past 3 games. It's been like 13 to 15% overall target share. Zeke 2 weeks ago, 21% target share. Last week, 31% target share. Like, even if that comes down to James Cookian levels with these guys back, like, he still has so many outs to get to 19.5 receiving yards.
He has 1, 2, 3, 4 games where he's actually like played over where he's averaging over 10 yards per reception. So I think 3 catches, we're feeling pretty good about him getting at least like 21. So yeah. I like that a lot.
What was Demario Douglas's? I mean, I'm sure I can look it up or whatever, but was he like a really low ADOT guy when he was in there? I just kind of assume in my mind he was, but was he?
I think he was
Like,
used
Pulling it up.
I don't think he was like. I got it.
For the season, it's 7.4 dot.
Yeah.
Okay.
He had 1 week where he was at like 14, but yeah, it's been pretty low.
What say you on Bijan here?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you liked it.
I think you just go rushing yards, right? Like that's the matchup. That's what you're playing.
Yeah. Agreed. And I don't love attempts as much as I like yardage because he's like the home run hitter potential as well, right?
Or do you just want to get up to and have the outs with the receiving too?
I was just gonna say, man, this receiving yards just looks like it's not going to be hard for him to clear either. You're seeing more target. He's 6, 5, and 7 targets in the last 3 games. You
guys like the combo or you like just the receiving, Nez?
Man,
I'm struggling. I'm struggling on this.
32, 26, 54, his past 3 receiving lines. 18.5 here.
The one thing I will say, doesn't JM say that like Panthers are like kind of good against stopping receiving backs?
Yeah.
Isn't this the team that this is what he says?
I think we give ourselves the 2 outs and take the 87.5.
I like it, man.
Or is that too big of a number for you, John?
Nope. I like it.
Okay.
I think I prefer just rushing than it, but I like the thesis you guys have with the receiving that like bundling it makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm. All right, who's another?
It's so conceivable that he can just do what like CMC did last week.
The more I think about
one touch and it's like 70 yards, and it's like, oh yeah, of course it's Bijan.
Yeah, I think the more I think about it, I think I would do straight rushing.
Really?
If we think that they're going to be in a script where they are winning, he's how many times is he toting the rock?
The problem is in those scripts, that's when Algier really. I kind of like having the multiple outs.
Okay,
yeah,
that's fine. That's fine.
The whole thing about
he's a focal point regardless.
Yeah.
If I had to rank my favorites, I'd say it's receiving yards first, it's combo yards next, then it's rushing yards, then it's rushing attempts.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Who's another guy you guys have been just drafting a ton or slightly ahead of market?
Rashad White.
Yep.
Which we used. Not that we can't go back to that.
I mean, Rashee Rice as well, but we'd used him.
Trey McBride's probably my highest own right now. We can put that at 2.5. That spice looks so good right now.
Oh my God.
Yeah, we don't have to add it in this one. I'm just saying in general, I like that one.
Yeah.
What's up with my boy Breece Hall? Just to take a peek.
Breece Hall is not your boy. You cannot stake claim on Breece Hall.
4 receptions. I gotta be honest.
There's like 25 other people that have Breece Hall as their boy over you.
That's why it's funny because he's definitively not my boy, but he is now. I tell you what, man, 4 receptions feels like something that's gonna get an increase, but I don't know. Do you know how many times he's hit 4 or higher? A lot.
They Neumy behind the scenes giving us a discount on
Thanks,
Bijan there. Thanks, Neumy.
Appreciate it, man. 4 receptions for Bijan. Who says no? Do you want me don't make me spout off his game log. In receptions, 9.
Yeah.
This is in succession. 9, 8, 9, 6, 3 and 4, 9, 5, 3, 4.
Let's go back. If we don't have what was our favorite that we've already used?
The favorite that we used. I mean, Mahomes passing.
Yeah. What about what if we tossed in Stafford passing here? We already have Howell attempts. We have Kyron receiving yards. We don't have to guess, if one of Puka or Kupp have the insane game, trying to guess which one of them it is. You get to 272 passing yards. Last week, he was 294 at Baltimore.
It correlates.
Yeah, that was kind of my thought. And I mean, Washington
feels like such a trap number.
272.
272. It just feels like such a trap number with staff. Like they could conceivably go like 240 and 3 passing touchdowns and 2 rushing scores and still break the slate, and he still doesn't get home, you know?
Yeah.
All right, I'll read off some previous yardage. Tua went 280.
Yep.
Dak went 331. Tommy Cutlet's only 246, but 3 touchdowns, so the efficiency was there. Gino goes 369. This one shouldn't use, but Mac Jones went for 220. Mac Jones isn't even a starting quarterback in the NFL anymore.
I mean, if Mac Jones threw for 220, I mean
that was the data point you needed.
Well, I mean, everyone else he listed went over this 272 mark, and then Mac Jones had his best game of the year effectively against them.
This is just a clean one. This is what we call play the best plays.
Absolutely.
Ship it. Max enter the gauntlet after you win. All that good.
Now's the time.
All right. I like it.
Let's go, baby.
Good
yeah,
shit.
Shout out to Oaks Neumy behind the scenes there, giving us a little 1-yard discount on Bijan too.
Dude, speaking of that, like yesterday we were making our ship chasing ones for the ship cast. And that the AOC number was just pinging around like nothing I've ever seen. I was like trying to like capture like a bunny in my living room. That's what I was trying to get. It would be like 205. Then I'd be like, wait. And it would go down to 198. I'm like, go. And then it would change again. I was like, what is going on? I had never seen it fluctuate so wildly.
Wow. Well, clearly nobody knew what the hell was going to go on last night because that was just ridiculous.
Did you guys see what happened? Underdog just didn't have anything in the lobby the entire second half. They just waved the white flag on the game.
They just said, you know what? the game is entertainment enough. We can't be.
I really think, a lot of it is just, algo driven. And I think the game and the score just broke the algo. And they're like, nah,
yeah,
we don't got it.
We cannot possibly project this anymore.
Well, it's 42-0 at half, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's nuts.
That's hilarious.
All right.
I can't believe we didn't get there with that Easton stick rushing stuff there.
I know, especially when he took off. And I guarantee, like, if the world just stopped and you came to me and they're like, Peter, how many yards do you think Easton Stick just rushed for? I would have been like 28. Like, it felt like the biggest run. And they're like, it was just a 9-yard run, Peter. I was like, no, dude, he was gliding down the field.
Well, that was always his thing, too. Like, in the preseason games when he was like #team preseason and that sort of stuff, his rushing floor was like what made him fantasy viable.
Yeah.
And for that to like disappear in a game where you're trailing 42-0, just
I know we were close. It's a bummer that one was in the core because 4 or 5 on the 5-legger, but off and on the clock redemption on the pick'em entries. I've been on a little bit of a pick'em cooler over the past couple weeks, so it's time to get back in there.
Don't you dare say that. We spiced the hell out of Miami up. It doesn't matter what happened with the rest. Well, we got rugged on the Mike Evans.
Yeah, that's my
point.
We're on a cooler.
Nah, it's outside of our control. That's just
trust
that's
the pick'em process.
Trust the pick'em process, baby. We can't trust them to throw the red challenge flag for the Mike Evans score there.
Oh my goodness. All right. I think we power this one down. Appreciate you guys hanging out with us today. Make sure you're subscribed. Hit that like button. Become a YouTube member. Get some of the Neumy. He gets the beats going. He'll do the coffee pour. He'll say all of my famous slogans for you.
Pete, you do this. I have to step in.
I'm kidding.
You do this quite a bit. You confuse my name and Neumy's name.
Did I do it again?
I have to. That allows me one free coffee pour.
All right, you get one coffee pour, Neumy. That's it. Thank you for stepping in. I will make sure it doesn't happen again. Miami Neumy, though, it's just hard to forget him.
I'm gonna leave early.
Yeah. All right. Anything else from you guys?
No, best of luck in the lobbies. Actually, I would be remiss not to shout out Chad with a 3rd place last night in the Hoop Street. Good to see him back out there. And Max Kings tagged us in it. Very, very solid NBA player, taking down last night's slate. John Boy Beats had him as one of the most likely positive regression candidates in his sheet, and he made good on it last night, taking down that 8K score. So big shouts to them.
Do you know what's so funny? We always talk about, even on my show with JM today, he's like, these players don't know that they're chalk when they go out there or whatever. And it was like, but a player on John's sheet knows they're due for regression. Like, imagine the pressure. You're like, God, if I just keep doing what I normally do, John tells me I'm going to hit. And then John gives refunds if you don't, right?
Yeah, well, one would hope in the future here. Tax write-off.
All right, guys. Good luck. We'll see you guys next week and in those lobbies over the next 2 days. Peace.
Peace.